What is up, everybody out there in the YouTube sphere? Welcome to another episode of Fourth and Goal. My name is SoRealSuneil, aka Suneil. To the left of me, or I guess on your screen it might be to the right, depending on which way you're looking. But I got my little bro, Amin the Dream. Amin, how you doing today?
I'm good. We haven't done this for a couple of weeks. I mean, we haven't done this last week. We skipped a week, but now we're back.
Yeah.
Me and Sunil are back.
Absolutely, man. And there's so much to talk about. I'm excited to get started. So let's go. I mean, what we got first?
Let's jump right into it. Starting off, before the show, there was some breaking news. The Dallas Cowboys released linebacker Jaylon Smith. He is a former Pro Bowl linebacker. Now, obviously, they did draft Micah Parsons in this year's NFL draft. But what was your initial reactions, and where do you see some potential landing spots for him to go?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is just kind of more about Micah Parsons than about Jaylon Smith. I don't know much about Jaylon Smith's contract. I know he was one of the higher paid players on the Cowboys defense. And when you got a younger, cheaper option that's playing as well as Parsons is playing, that makes a guy like Jaylon Smith expendable. So I think it was a surprise, obviously, because of the name power and just the Cowboys cutting him, mid-season or whatnot. But I think this is more about Micah Parsons than anything else. As far as where the landing spots are, I don't know offhand who necessarily needs a linebacker, but I would imagine he's going to have a lot of suitors, and I expect him to probably go to a title contender. But yeah, offhand, I don't really know where, but I expect him to be going to a team that's going to compete. I doubt he's just going to go somewhere for money. He's made a lot of money. Now I think he just wants to play for a ring.
Yeah, well, his contract in 2019, he did sign a 6-year, $68 million extension with the team. Mm-hmm. So he did get paid a lot. But, now, like you said, it is obviously more of a Micah Parsons thing than it is a Jaylon Smith thing. Because Micah Parsons has been balling out. He's been balling out. I think he's favored to win Defensive Rookie of the Year just so far by his play this year. But, I mean, it's at the end of the day, the Cowboys did lose a former Pro Bowl linebacker. But one potential landing spot, which I don't think has a high chance of happening, but I think it's a potential landing spot, is the Niners, okay? Now, the reason I say the Niners is because now we obviously do have Fred Warner, but Dre Greenlaw, on the other hand, is injured. He's out till November. He had the hamstring injury, I think so. He had the hamstring injury. So he could go to a team like the Niners, who need a linebacker because they're starting right outside linebacker. Dre Greenlaw is injured. So I think a potential landing spot could be the Niners, okay? Just saying.
I think that's more wishful thinking. I don't think I think what we just saw from Richard Sherman is I think players in the league aren't looking at the 49ers as a necessarily playoff contender or even Super Bowl contender. I expect him to go to a team that's, performing a lot better than what the 49ers are right now.
Well, we disagree on this one. But moving on. Are the Cardinals the best team in the NFL right now?
Well, I mean, they obviously beat a team that just beat the Super Bowl champs in the Rams. So you would think by process of elimination and NFL math and all that kind of stuff, the Cardinals are definitely up there. I still wouldn't say that they're the best team in the league. I mean, they obviously have the best record. They're the only undefeated team left. And they are a much better team than they have been in the past. Offense is humming. They have a very solid defense that turns the ball over and gets a lot of sacks. So they definitely are a contending team. I don't think that they're like fool's gold or anything like that by any stretch of the imagination. But I think are you asking right now? Or are you asking overall?
No, right now, are the Cardinals the best team in the NFL?
I mean, I guess you'd have to say yes. They're the only team that's undefeated. They just beat a really good Rams team and dominated them. They're playing really well on both sides of the ball right now. They got I think, probably the front runner for MVP right now, and Kyler Murray. I think they have the best receiver in the game in D-Hop. And, Green on the other side is starting to show flashes of the old, Green that, people saw how good he was when he was younger. So their offense looks good. Their defense looks good. So, yeah, I would have to say right now they're the best team in the league. But if somebody were to ask me, are you going to bet that the Cardinals are going to win the Super Bowl this year? I wouldn't make that bet. But as of right now, 4 weeks through the season, yeah, I would say the Cardinals are the best team.
As of right now, the Cardinals are definitely the best team in the NFL. Obviously, the record, they're the only undefeated team. Now, if you look at their games that they played, now they blew the Titans out in the Titans Stadium. They were away. They're the away team, and they beat the Titans. Now, obviously, they were one Greg Joseph field goal away from being 3-1. But what happened this week when they beat the Rams? I mean, when you look at the Rams beating on the Tampa Bay Buccaneers last week, most people had the Rams being the best team right now, best team in the NFC, and they were favored. They had them favored to win the Super Bowl, and they go to LA and they beat the brakes off the Rams. I mean, right now, in my opinion, as of right now, I think they're the best team in football. The record shows it, and like the great Bill Parcells said, you are what your record says you are, and they are 4-0. So as of right now, I think they are the best team in the NFL. Now, do I think they're going to win the Super Bowl or anything like that? No. But as of right now, do I think they're the best team in the NFL? Yeah, I definitely do think so. Moving on to the next topic is, should the Jaguars fire Urban Meyer? Now, if you haven't seen the videos, okay, you should go check them out. But should the Jaguars fire Urban Meyer?
I mean, I don't really. The short answer is no. Like, I don't see what he was doing as a fireable offense from the place of work that you're at. Like, clearly on a moral level and on like just a human level, you're married. Why are you doing that? And you got caught, but plenty of people cheat. Unfortunately, right? I'm sure a lot of the athletes in his locker room all have wives and still have, step out on their wives and stuff like that as well. So it's not like the NFL is this holistic, like everybody is, faithful husband and all this kind of stuff. So as far as like that, I would say, nah, he shouldn't be fired based off of those videos. Now, he's also 0-4. Right. And the team isn't looking like it's really competing. And, that might be. And then, this USC stuff is going on. So there's a lot of like undue attention that the Jaguars are getting. And it's not because of how well they're playing on the field, which maybe that's a reason why you fire him. But I'm assuming your question is more geared towards the off the field situation. So if it's just that, I mean, he wasn't doing anything illegal. It was morally obviously not good, but it's the NFL, man. I don't know. It's not the moral league. It's the National Football League. So yeah, I would say that isn't a fireable offense.
Yeah, but I don't think it's a fireable offense what he did off the field, right? Now, the one reason that I would say reason to fire him is obviously because of his record. But then if you do fire him in season, you're stuck without necessarily your head coach for the whole season, which I don't know if you necessarily want to do if I'm Shad Khan and the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now, if they do fire him, I would say do it at the end of after the season. But I really don't think it's a fireable offense to fire him what happened off the field. Now, if I were to fire him, it's because of his record, but still, you have to hit a situation with the Jaguars, a rebuilding team. You got to give him time. So I don't think they should fire him.
Yeah, that would be wild to fire somebody on an 0-4 start in their first year. Like,
yeah,
you got to give them a few years to rebuild. They started from pretty much scratch.
Yeah, and especially like considering that he didn't even go to a good team. He pretty much went to a team with the most cap space that needed the most work to be done. I mean, he even had the first overall pick to work with. I mean, that team is a rebuilding team, and that team is not going to be a playoff team for another couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
So, moving on to the next topic, are the Raiders frauds? Now, I didn't watch Monday Night Football yesterday, but I heard a lot about it, and one reason why I heard a lot about it is because Jesse Naylor. I played him in fantasy this week. I was beating him by like 20 points, and he had Justin Herbert, and Justin Herbert threw for like 3 touchdowns. And when I look at my phone this morning, I lose because of Justin Herbert, because Justin Herbert pops off. Are the Raiders frauds?
No, I think the Raiders are a good team. I just think the Chargers are a really, really good team as well. And they got beat by a better team. Austin Eckler went off. Justin Herbert is a stud. And he's playing the way we all expected him to play. He had the slow start in the beginning of the year, and now, it's all cylinders go with that stacked offense, stacked defense. They're really good on both sides of the ball. Does that mean that the Raiders are frauds? No, the Raiders beat the Baltimore Ravens. The Raiders beat Pittsburgh Steelers. Raiders are a good team. They're a solid 3-1 team. Now, they've played a lot of close games. They love going to overtime for whatever reason. So are they where they need to be like Super Bowl contenders? No, but they're 3-1. They've beaten some really good caliber teams, and they just aren't good enough to beat the Chargers at this point. But that's not meaning that they're frauds. That just shows how good the Chargers are. Look, the Chargers also beat the Kansas City Chiefs. Are the Kansas City Chiefs frauds? You know what I mean? I don't think anybody's going to say that. I think just the Chargers are a really good team, and it's saying once again more about the Chargers than about the Raiders at this point.
No, the Raiders aren't frauds. They just got beat by the better team last night. The Chargers go in and forgot their Chiefs stadium, but they go play the Chiefs and Justin Herbert Arrowhead, right? They go to Arrowhead, they beat the Chiefs, then they beat another good Raiders team at home, but the Raiders just got beat by a better team. No, they're not frauds. They beat the Baltimore Ravens, they beat the Pittsburgh Steelers. They're 3-0. Just because they lost yesterday, they just got beat by a better team yesterday. Are the Raiders Super Bowl contenders? No. But the Raiders are still a good team, and just by one loss, it doesn't mean they're frauds. Like you said, Kansas City lost to the Chargers at home. That doesn't mean the Chiefs are frauds. Still, people had the Chiefs as favorites to win the Super Bowl this year. The Chiefs, just because they lost to their Chargers one game, doesn't mean they're frauds. The Raiders beat good teams, and just because they lost one game does not mean that they're frauds. Simple as that. They just got beat by the better team last night.
I agree.
Moving on to a little bit of a controversial topic. Should Ben Roethlisberger be benched?
Do you want to start?
Sure, I'll start this one off.
Okay.
Now, obviously, we know Ben Roethlisberger isn't playing well. And, I mean, after his elbow injury that he had in 2019, Ben Roethlisberger just hasn't been the same. But here's why Ben Roethlisberger should not be benched. Because as much as Ben Roethlisberger is necessarily not playing his best football, who are you going to start outside of Ben Roethlisberger? You're going to start Dwayne Haskins? You're going to start Mason Rudolph? Like, those guys, if you expect those guys to do any better than Ben Roethlisberger is doing, no. Because both of those guys, obviously now Mason Rudolph didn't get necessarily a chance because he's playing under Ben Roethlisberger. But, like, if you look at Dwayne Haskins, who's the second string right now, he got his chance in Washington. Now, obviously, his situation wasn't good, but he also didn't have the work ethic. Yeah, I remember one time he got in trouble for going to like a party or something like that. I mean, who are you going to start besides Ben Roethlisberger if you were supposedly going to bench Ben Roethlisberger? Who are you going to start instead of him? It's not like they're interested in being Cam Newton. The two guys that you have on your team, Dwayne Haskins and Mason Rudolph, I don't think are better than Ben Roethlisberger right now. So no, Ben Roethlisberger should not be benched. Not because necessarily of his play, it's just that who are you going to replace him for? Who are you going to start instead of Ben Roethlisberger? Mason Rudolph, Dwayne Haskins? I don't think so.
I kind of disagree, but I think it's too soon to bench Ben Roethlisberger because, yeah, I mean, they're 1-3, but I think they've only played one divisional game so far. I'm not 100% sure, but
they played the Bengals.
Yeah, so I think they need to play a couple more divisional games and see how those turn out. But if it gets to a point where they lose to the Cleveland Browns and the Baltimore Ravens as well, and at that point where all right, the playoffs are probably not going to happen, I think you bench him, and I think you see what you have out of a Dwayne Haskins, right? Because now they're thinking, all right, we're probably going to get a higher draft pick. Do we have a guy in Dwayne Haskins that could be the future of our team, or do we need to go out and use our draft pick on another quarterback, right? So I think that it kind of depends. I mean, right now it is looking bleak. They're losing to the good teams, and they're even losing to teams that aren't so good, and so, or supposedly not so good. So,
I mean,
and
but
Ben isn't looking good either. So
Ben
he's
isn't.
looking old, right? He's looking unathletic.
But
He's looking old.
so far, I will say though, the teams that they have played are all pretty much really damn good. Are the Bills, which they beat, the Raiders. You play the Bengals, that are also 3-1, and you play the Packers, that's also another really good team that's 3-1. So far, they pretty much played all 3-1 teams.
Right. So, I mean, like I said, I think when they play, they're probably going to play Baltimore and Cleveland here pretty soon. So if they could go 2-0 in those games, now they're back to 3-3, but they have, the tiebreaker over two teams in their division. So after those two games, that's where I would make the decision. If they drop those two games, start bench Ben, start either Rudolph or Haskins, whomever you think is the better quarterback out of the two. See what you have, because it looks like it's time to rebuild in Pittsburgh.
I mean, for me, it's honestly Ben Roethlisberger. As much as he's not playing well, Dwayne Haskins isn't a mobile quarterback, nor is Mason Rudolph. And that offensive line is terrible. No matter what anybody wants to say, that offensive line is terrible. So now, on one hand, yes, you might want to see what you get from Dwayne Haskins or Mason Rudolph. But on the other hand, how much more better do you expect them to play behind that offensive line? Because that offensive line really isn't that good. It just isn't.
Yeah, and but you have to understand that, if they don't have a quarterback, they have to go after quarterback with their top pick. If they feel like they have something out of one of these quarterbacks, then they could use that top pick on offensive line, right? So it's kind of like, and this is going to be an interesting dilemma for Mike Tomlin, because he's a coach that's never had a losing season in his career, right? So he's always, his worst season is a 500 season. So he's not accustomed to losing. He's an amazing leader of men. So, I think that they could figure something out. Ben Roethlisberger is a 2-time Super Bowl champ. He maybe his body's giving up, but he's still a very smart quarterback. So we'll see if they could get a couple of wins and right the ship a little bit. I think they ride out with Ben Roethlisberger. But if it's like throw in the towel because we know we can't go anywhere, I think you got to start one of these young quarterbacks and see what you have.
No, definitely, right? If you don't think you're gonna make the playoffs this year and you want to start Dwayne Haskins or Mason Rudolph, go ahead, right? But if you're at the end of the day, if I'm Mike Tomlin and I'm trying to make it to the playoffs, I'm starting Ben Roethlisberger over Dwayne Haskins and Mason Rudolph. That's just me. If I want to make the playoffs and I want to have a winning season, I would rather start Ben Roethlisberger over Mason Rudolph and Dwayne Haskins. But let's say we're dropping games and we don't have a good chance of making the playoffs, then I might start Dwayne Haskins and Mason Rudolph to see what we can get out of them. But at the end of the day, if I'm Mike Tomlin and I want to make it to the playoffs, I'm starting Ben Roethlisberger. Because he gives me a better chance to make the playoffs than Dwayne Haskins and Mason Rudolph.
I'm with you. Same page.
Moving on to the next topic is which rookie quarterback is going to win the most games this season?
Based off of who's playing right now or just in general?
I mean, you could go whatever. If you want to make a bold prediction or you want to be safe, that's you.
I'm going to go with Justin Fields. I think Justin Fields is going to win the most games. I think that, we saw what he was capable of last week in his victory. Obviously, it was over Detroit, but still, it was he played really well. He made some really good throws. The thing that a little bit of hesitation is that they just lost their star running back. So I think that's going to be a little bit tough. But I think out of all of the teams that have rookie quarterbacks, they have the most complete team. They have a strong defense, weapons for him to throw to. And as long as that running game can still be effective, I think that they have a good chance to still put up a lot of victories. So I'm going with Justin Fields, with Mac Jones being a close second.
Now, here's my only problem with people that say Justin Fields. Now, if you want to say who has the most upside as a rookie quarterback, who might have the most impressive stats at the end of the season, go ahead. But if you're saying who's going to win, which rookie quarterback is going to win the most games, it's Mac Jones and the Patriots. You have Bill Belichick as your head coach. And if you look at the Bears' schedule, I don't know if they're going to win a game this whole month. I really don't. If you just look at their schedule, the next couple of games, you have to play the 3-1 Raiders, you have to play the Packers, you have to play the Buccaneers, you have to play the Niners, and then, you have a tough road. You have a tough schedule. You have a pretty darn tough schedule. Whether Justin Fields is starting, whether Andy Dalton is starting, I just don't see them winning those games like against the Raiders or against the Packers or against the Buccaneers. I just don't. Where if you look at the Patriots schedule, next week you're going and you're playing the Texans. Then, you're playing, I think you're playing the Jets. I mean, you have a pretty easy schedule coming up. I'm saying it's Mac Jones just based off the schedule.
All right, so I'll give you the next 4 games for the Patriots. They have the Texans. They're at the Texans. Then they're home against the Cowboys. Home against the Jets. And then at the Chargers. And then at the Panthers. And then at the Browns. So the next 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 games, 6 games, I expect there's only 2 guaranteed victories. The Panthers are a tough game. Browns are a tough game. Chargers are a tough game. And Cowboys are a tough game. So they could easily go 2-4 in their next 6 games.
And how many are the Bears guaranteed to win? Now, you could say the Raiders, but they're not beating the Packers. They're not beating the Buccaneers. They're not beating the Niners. I'm just saying that right now. I'm not. They're not beating the Niners. As much as I know the Niners are a better team than the Bears. They're not beating the Niners. And I don't know about the Steelers, but that's all the way in November. So, if you just look at their upcoming schedule, the Raiders could go either way, because now obviously the Raiders could go either way if you're playing the Raiders, but I really don't see them winning any of those games. I really don't. When Mac Jones, yes, his schedule, but there's still 2 of those winnable games in the schedule. I got Mac Jones. I'm just saying that. I got Mac Jones just based slowly off the schedule. The schedule is easier for Mac Jones than it is for Justin Fields and the Bears.
Okay.
Moving on to the next topic. Now we move on to our Week 5 game predictions. Starting off with a banger, the Rams versus the Seahawks. Who you got?
Yeah, Neil? I think this is going to be a pretty easy win for the Rams. The Seahawks look good against the 49ers, but I just think that's because the 49ers don't have a really good offense, so that makes any team look much better than they actually are. The Rams, however, do have a very good offense, and I find it very hard to believe that they'll drop back-to-back games in the NFC West. So, I think this is actually going to be a pretty easy victory for the Rams.
Yeah, but I got the Rams in this one also. The Rams, obviously lost to the Cardinals. They're looking to bounce back. And if you just look at the Niners and the Seahawks game, the offense, it wasn't necessarily the Niners offense it was the Niners offense that couldn't get them points. Their defense was playing exceptionally well. Their defense the Seattle Seahawks went for 5 3-and-outs in the first half. 5 3-and-outs in a row. In a row, they had 5 3-and-outs because the defense was playing excellent. Now, I think both of us can agree the Rams defense is better than the Niners right now. And if the Rams are going to cause havoc, Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey, they're going to cause havoc on Russell Wilson. And just that Rams offense is just explosive. They make big plays, and you don't have those limitations with Matthew Stafford in their center. You had those limitations with Jared Goff, and now you have Matthew Stafford who can throw the ball downfield efficiently. And I think it's going to be a pretty easy one, just like you said, for the Los Angeles Rams. Moving on to the next topic, Jets versus Falcons. Who you got in this one?
Yeah, this is interesting because I think both of these teams are playing a lot better than they were in the beginning of the season. Um, I'm gonna go with the Jets. I think that they had a really good game last week. I think that Zach Wilson is, is showing people why he was such a high draft pick. It seems like that defense under Salah is playing pretty well, and they have a guy in Corey Davis who I think can have a big game against that bleak Falcons secondary. So
Did you see that Zach Wilson pass that he did? I forgot what pass it was, but bro, he launched that ball.
yeah, he threw the ball like 60 yards in the air.
Yeah,
It
I'm
was pretty
like,
decent.
damn, Zach Wilson.
Yeah, so I mean, the Falcons defense isn't that great. Both offenses, I think, are pretty equal. But I'm gonna go with the Jets having a better defense, so I think the Jets get this victory.
I'm gonna go with the Falcons. Now, as much as I love Zach Wilson, as much as I love Robert Saleh, I gotta go with the Falcons. I mean, if you just look at last week, the Falcons, Matt Ryan had himself a hell of a game, threw for 283 yards, had 4 touchdowns. Cordero Patterson, he popped off 5 receptions, 82 yards, and 3 touchdowns. Now, the Falcons defense isn't good, but at the end of the day, Zach Wilson and the Jets team is a young, rebuilding team. That offensive line has been struggling all season. I'm going to lean towards the Falcons. But I think it's going to be a close game, but I got to lean towards the Falcons.
I think you're going to be wrong, but okay.
All right, well, sometimes me and Suneil disagree, okay? Last time we disagreed about game picks. Who was right, Suneil? You remember who was right.
Yeah, but then you took a whole week off for homework, so I didn't get a chance for revenge.
But it's all good. It's all good. We're back this week, okay? We're back this week. We'll find out. We'll find out who's right, Suneil. We're back this week, okay?
We will.
Moving on to the next game, Patriots versus Texans. I'm pretty sure this is an easy one. I'm going with the Patriots. I'm pretty sure you're going the same way.
Yup.
This is an easy one. Mac Jones, Bill Belichick. Mac Jones played himself a hell of a game last week. People, as much as yes, they lost, Mac Jones had 19 straight completions last week. He was on fire. And if it wasn't for that missed field goal, he would have beat Tom Brady in his first ever start going up against Tom. In his first ever game going up against the GOAT, he would have beaten the GOAT if it wasn't for that missed field goal. So I think the Patriots win this one with ease. Moving on to the next game, Lions versus the Vikings. Who you got?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the Lions are on the brink of getting a victory. Those guys are playing really, really hard, and they just need to come up against the right situation. I just don't think the Vikings are the right situation for them to get a victory. I got the Vikings just because they have too many weapons, and the Lions are just outmatched. They'll be outmatched at every single position on the field. Their best player is Swift, but on the other side, the Vikings have a better running back in Cook, right? So I don't know if Cook's playing.
I disagree.
I think Vikings win.
Swift isn't their best player. I gotta say it's Frank Ragnow. He's an amazing center for that team. But speaking of Frank Ragnow, he's out with turf toe this week, and so is the starting tackle Taylor Decker. You have injuries, and the Vikings. I mean, this is just an unfair matchup. You got Justin Jefferson, you got Adam Thielen, you got Dalvin Cook. I don't know if he's playing, but I'm pretty sure he's back this week. It's just an unfair matchup. That offense is just so good. I'm taking the Vikings. And one thing about the Lions that, I think they're going to get a win soon enough. But, if you just look at their game against the Ravens, they almost beat the Ravens. And then you go see them play the Bears, and then they just couldn't stop the Bears. I got the Vikings winning this one. Their offense is just too explosive. Moving on to the next game, Eagles versus the Panthers. Who you got in this one?
CMC's still out, right?
Yep. I got Chuba Hubbard on my fantasy team. Hopefully he pops off. He only had like 9 points last week.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Panthers still. I think the Eagles are a very good. They have a very good defense, but I just think that the Panthers are gonna pull it out. Even though they're missing their best player, I think they'll get it done with the passing game. I think that what's his name, the quarterback for the Panthers right now, slipping my
Sam
mind.
Darnold.
Sam Darnold, yeah, Sam Darnold is playing well. He's being the athlete that he was at USC. I think he has like the most rushing touchdowns of anybody in the league right now. So I think that offense is still good enough to get it done against, even though the Eagles defense is good.
I got the Panthers winning this one. I think Sam Darnold and that team is going to bounce back. I mean, the Eagles defense isn't really that good. I got the Panthers winning this one. I think they're just going to bounce back. The Eagles are going to be outmatched against the Panthers and that team, so I got the Panthers winning this one. And the Panthers also have the best defense in football right now. If you just look at the stats and everything, they have the best defense in football. So I got the Panthers winning this one.
All right, we shall see.
Moving on to the Saints versus the Washington football team. Heineke.
Yeah, Heineke's balling out.
Bro, Heineke.
And you know what is interesting is that the Saints are kind of like up and down. So you never know what version of the Saints that you're going to get.
I mean, you lose to the Giants. You go, you beat the Packers week 1, then you lose to the Panthers. I mean, they're just so inconsistent. They're up and down, up and down. I'm just like, then you go beat the Patriots at Foxborough, and then you go lose to the Giants. Like, I mean, they're just an up and down team. I don't know what it is with the Saints. They're inconsistent, in my opinion. I don't know. Is it want to be one of those things where you're gonna win one week and then you're gonna lose the next week? I really don't know. But who you got winning this one?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with the football team, man. I think that Heineke balls out. I think Heineke balls out. I think the Saints kind of play down to their competition, and they play really well against, I guess, teams that are supposed to be good. And if it's between Heineke and the quarterback for the Saints, I don't know why I'm forgetting everybody's name right now, but Jameis Winston. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Heineke, man. Heineke's been pretty consistent regardless of who he's playing, so I'm going with the Saints. I'm going with the football team.
Now, I love Heineke. Okay, Heineke's my Heineke. I'm rooting for Heineke. Okay, but I got the New Orleans Saints winning this one. Now, the Saints are up and down, but for some reason, if you look at their first 4 games, you have a pattern of winning one week and then you lose the next week. You win one week and then you lose the next week. I think it's the week that they bounce back and they get the dub. I'm going to go with the Saints in the close one, but I got the Saints pulling it out. Moving on to the next topic, the Titans versus the Jaguars. Who you got in this one, Suneil?
I mean, with everything that's going on with the Jaguars right now, you got to go Titans, right? Titans are just a better team. I think this is a pretty easy victory for the Titans.
Yeah, I got the Titans winning this one. The Jaguars are 0-4. They came off a devastating loss against the Bengals on Thursday Night Football. But at the end of the day, the Jaguars are a rebuilding team, and the Titans have some good young pieces on their team. They have the best running back in football. You got a great tandem in Julio Jones and A.J. Brown. I got the Titans winning this one. Moving on to the Dolphins versus...
This is a game I'm actually excited about.
Why?
Even though, because the Bucs are looking susceptible, my dude. You know what I mean? The last 2 games, they've been beatable, right? They obviously lost to the Rams, and then the Patriots, basically, like you said, were a missed field goal away from taking the victory there. Dolphins, obviously they don't have the starting caliber quarterback that they want, but I love their coach. I like their defense. I think that they're going to be ready to go up against, and this is the Battle of Florida right here, my dude. This is the Battle of Florida. With that all being said,
what I think you're about to say.
With that all being said, I still think that Tampa Bay ends up winning taking this victory, just because, they have way too much on that offense. And even though I think the Dolphins' strength is their defense, I think that, Tampa Bay will figure it out.
Yeah, Tua's not even starting quarterback. It's Jacoby Brissett because Tua's injured. Jacoby Brissett playing the Buccaneers. No, the Buccaneers are taking that one. Now, I think the Dolphins are going to put up somewhat of a fight, but the Buccaneers are going to win it. Buccaneers are, as much as they haven't been looking like Super Bowl champs like they were last year. I think they're going to pick it up, but with Jacoby Brissett starting at quarterback, whether it's Tua or Jacoby Brissett, I still got the Buccaneers winning this one.
Yeah, I mean the Bucs did this last season too.
Yeah, they picked it up. They picked it up later on the season.
Yep.
What's up, Kenneth? Thanks for tapping in. There's a lot of shows going on. We got Jesse's show. We got Blake and Sports going on. But I appreciate everybody who's tapped into me and Suneil.
Let's do it.
Moving on to the next game. This is an interesting game. People aren't talking about this game that much. But this is 2 3-1 teams going up against each other. The Green Bay Packers versus the Cincinnati Bengals. Who you got winning this one, Suneil?
So Mixon is out or doubtful, right? So most likely he's going to be out. And because of that, I think that the Packers end up taking this, right? I think the Bengals with Mixon are way more competitive, but without Mixon, you got to go with the Packers because it's going to be on Joe Burrow's shoulders to be able to do this. And I do think that this could be, a very high scoring game and could be like an offensive explosion. But if I'm going Joe Burrow versus Aaron Rodgers in an offensive explosion type game, I'm going to have to go with Aaron Rodgers. So Joe Burrow is good, but he's not Aaron Rodgers good quite yet,
Joe Burrow is good, but Aaron Rodgers is better. Simple as that.
Right, exactly.
Okay, it's just simple as that. Okay, if I'm just basing solely off quarterbacks, Joe Burrow and that Bengals offense going up against the Packers and Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams, I got the Packers winning this one. I don't think the Bengals are going to be able to stop Aaron Rodgers in that offense. Devontae Adams and Aaron Rodgers, that tandem is pretty much unstoppable. I mean, it's really hard to stop Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams in that connection. I got the Packers winning this one. I feel like you said, if it's Aaron Rodgers going up against Joe Burrow, I got to take Aaron Rodgers any day. I'm taking Aaron Rodgers any day of the week. I got Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers winning this one.
Yeah, and Green Bay is just on a roll right now, so.
Yeah. Aaron Rodgers is pissed off at what people said about him week 1, okay? Aaron Rodgers has been on fire. But moving on to the next game, the Broncos versus the Steelers. Now, this one, I don't know, we could disagree here, we could agree here, but who you got winning this one?
Whew. So if the Steelers were going to do anything, this is a game that I think they have to show out and be able to do. With that being said, I got the Broncos in this one. So I'm going to go with the Broncos. Don't really know why. I mean, don't really have a strong argument as to why, but just my spidey senses are saying Broncos.
Whoa. It's not Marvel Comics. This is football. We're talking about the National Football League. What is this? Spider-Man?
Yep.
Spider-Man. What is it? Spider-Man 4? No, we talking football. I got the Steelers winning this one. I think the Steelers are going to bounce back. Teddy Bridgewater, I think he's out with the concussion. I don't know what happened to him last game. I know he got hurt. But either way, I think this is the game that the Steelers bounce back, and I got the Steelers winning this one. Moving on to the next game, the Bears versus Raiders. Are you picking your favorite quarterback in the NFL? Your favorite quarterback in the NFL, Justin Fields? Or are you going with the 3-1 Las Vegas Raiders and Derek Carr?
So, one, I don't know if Justin Fields is actually going to play, right? Because Matt Nagy's being Matt Nagy and saying that if Dalton is healthy, Dalton's a starter. But the bigger thing is that Montgomery's out, right? And I think that's a big blow to the Bears. So with that being said, I think this is going to be a close game, Amin. I don't see it as a blowout either way, but I do think the Raiders end up edging it just because I think it's going to be Andy Dalton and the Montgomery-less Bears versus Derek Carr, obviously, and the Raiders with their full cast of characters. So I'm gonna go Raiders, edge it out in a close one.
Yeah, I think the Raiders win this one. Whether Fields is starter, or whether Andy Dalton is a starter, regardless, I got the Raiders winning this one. The Raiders are a good football team. Now, like I said before, they just got beat by a better Chargers team yesterday on Monday Night Football, but the Raiders are still a good team, and I got them beating the Bears. Moving on, in my opinion, the game of the week. The Browns versus the Chargers.
This is a good one.
Justin Herbert versus Baker Mayfield. Now, I'm high excited to see this matchup. Who you got winning this one, Suneil?
You want me to go first?
Go ahead.
I'm all with Justin Herbert, man. I'm on the Justin Herbert the fan train. Choo choo. Let us go. I think that the Chargers take this, even though the Browns defense is ridiculous. I think the Chargers are I think the Browns are a very well-rounded team. I think the Chargers are even more well-rounded team. And they seem like they're going on all cylinders. Just beat Kansas City, just beat the Raiders. I think they go 3-0 against these top flight AFC contenders, and they take out the Browns.
Now, as much as I want to see Justin Herbert beat the Browns, as much as I'm kind of on there Justin Herbert hype train, but then I'm like, the Browns defense is a good defense. Okay, they're a good defense. As much as I want to see Justin Herbert win it, but I gotta go with the Browns. The Browns defense is just too good. The Browns defense, and Baker Mayfield didn't have the best game last week. I think he's gonna bounce back. Now, obviously, they have OBJ, but that offense is a stacked offense with Baker Mayfield, Nick Chubb, OBJ. The list goes on. And that defense has just been ferocious with Myles Garrett and the addition with Jadeveon Clowney. And I got to lean towards the Browns. I think the Chargers are going to not do as good as they've done against the Raiders and against the Chiefs. I think they're not going to do as good against the Browns in that defense. I got the Browns winning this one. It's just one of those gut feelings. I got the Browns.
See, Spidey senses.
It's not Spidey senses. It's one of those gut feelings. Okay, Suneil. It's not Spidey senses. Okay, my Spidey
you
senses
call it gut
tingling.
feeling. I call it Spidey senses.
Okay, my Spidey senses aren't tingling. Okay, it's just one of those gut feelings that the Browns win it. Moving on to the next game, the Giants versus the Cowboys. Who you got winning this one?
Yeah, I mean, the Cowboys seem to be kind of rolling with that offense. It seems like Zeke is back to, his way. They had a bounce back game last week. Yeah, I think the Cowboys just have too much firepower for the Giants at this point. Although the Giants are playing better, they have a couple weapons that are down, that are injured, like in their receiving core. I think that the Cowboys have this one, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Giants win because the NFC East is just weird. But my money's on the Cowboys.
Now, as much as I hate the Cowboys, I gotta say it. How about them Cowboys, okay?
Oh my God.
The Cowboys have been on a roll, okay? You go and you beat the Eagles 41-21. Then you go face the 3-0 Panthers and you beat them. I got the Cowboys winning this one. If the Cowboys are able to beat a 3-0 Panthers team, they're easily going to be able to beat a Giants team. Now, yes, the Giants, Daniel Jones has been playing well, but the Cowboys defense has been pretty darn good this season with Dan Quinn and Micah Parsons. Defensive, in my opinion, favorite to win Defense Rookie of the Year this season. I got the Cowboys winning this one, and I don't think it's close. I got the Cowboys winning this one. How about them Cowboys?
I hate that you said that.
I hate that too, okay? But I just gotta say it, okay? I have to say it. I have to get it out there, okay? Moving on to the 49ers versus the Cardinals. The 2-2 49ers versus the 4-0 Arizona Cardinals. In Arizona, Trey Lance might be the starting quarterback. Jimmy Garoppolo might be the starting quarterback. We don't know yet. But the 2-2 San Francisco 49ers coming off 2 losses versus the 4-0 Cardinals. Who you got winning this one?
So it hurts me to say this, but I do got to have the Cardinals winning this game. I had Seattle beating the 49ers last week as well. And the reason for it is, like I said, I think that the defense is good enough to help this 49ers team win, but the offense gives them no breaks. And against a team like the Cardinals, even if the defense plays lights out like they did against Seattle in the beginning of that game, I just don't believe that Kyle Shanahan is going to start Trey Lance if Jimmy Garoppolo could go. So to me, that means we got a hobbled Jimmy Garoppolo who, even when he's healthy, isn't moving the ball like we need him to move the ball down the field. So I just don't think they're going to be able to contend and put up enough points to compete with the Cardinals. So I just have the Cardinals winning.
I got the Cardinals winning this one. Now, if Lance starts, I definitely think that gives us a better chance to win the game against the Cardinals. But if Jimmy says he can go, Kyle's gonna let him go. Kyle's gonna let him play, even regardless of if Trey's healthy or Jimmy's healthy. If Jimmy can play, Kyle's gonna let Jimmy play. I think the Cardinals win this one. They've been on a roll, but I think with Trey Lance, we definitely do have a better chance because, especially with Jimmy's injury. If you look at last year when Jimmy had his ankle injury, he comes back and he plays against the Dolphins. He threw 2 interceptions in the first half. He's not good coming off injuries, especially if you rush him coming off injuries. He's not good. He's really bad if you rush him coming off injuries. Unless Kyle Shanahan if he wants to make an excellent game plan for Jimmy, which is really hard to do. I don't think you should rush Jimmy back into his injury. But either way, with Lance or with Jimmy Garoppolo, I think the Cardinals win this one. They've been on a roll. They're 4-0 for a reason because they've been a really dominant team. That defense has been playing well. Kyler Murray and that offense has been playing well. I got the Cardinals winning this one. But I will say, if Lance plays, that definitely gives us a better shot of winning this game.
It gives us a chance to win the game. I think if Jimmy plays, we have no chance.
Yep. Man amongst savages says Trey can avoid sacks and it's not turnover prone. That's definitely true. I mean, Trey can avoid sacks. And he's definitely not turnover prone. Definitely agree with those two statements. But moving on to the next game, I kind of like that Browns vs. Chargers game a little bit better. But this is also another pretty damn good game. The Buffalo Bills versus the Kansas City Chiefs. Josh Allen versus Patrick freaking Mahomes. Who you got winning this one?
So this is potentially AFC Championship game, right?
This
is potentially. Is it in Buffalo or in Kansas City?
I think it's in Kansas City. Let me double check on that.
Kansas City just came off of a big win. Buffalo did as well. Look, the Chiefs have been looking susceptible this year, right? And that defense has shown to be able to get points scored on them, and that offense has been able to be stifled. Buffalo does have a solid defense, and they do have a great offense. And I'm going to pick them. I'm going to go Buffalo because this game is going to mean more to Buffalo than it is to the Chiefs. So I'm going Buffalo Bills beat the Chiefs in probably the most entertaining game of the weekend.
And isn't that what he said about the Browns versus Chiefs game?
Yeah,
and who ended up winning the Browns versus Chiefs game? The Kansas City Chiefs. When you have Patrick Mahomes as your quarterback, you're most likely winning the football game. I don't care, and especially with that healthy offensive line, the defense isn't playing that well. Fine, I will say that. But when you have Patrick Mahomes and that offense, when you have Patrick Mahomes as a quarterback, your defense doesn't have to play great. Your defense could be solid. Your defense could be okay, and you still win football games. You still do. Now, if you just look at last week, for instance, that defense necessarily wasn't playing well. Jalen Hurts and that Eagles offense put up 30. But when you have a guy like Mahomes under center, most likely the outcome is you're winning that football game. Mahomes came off a huge game against the Eagles, had 5 touchdowns. Now, I definitely do think it's going to be close, but I got the Chiefs winning this one. When you have Mahomes in their center, most likely you're winning the game. I got the Chiefs winning this one.
Mahomes has more losses this season than Allen does.
Yeah, but still, Mahomes is Mahomes, okay? Don't disrespect Mahomes. I'm just telling you that right now. You got after watching Mahomes, after seeing him beat us in the Super Bowl, after watching Mahomes his entire career, I've learned to respect Mahomes. I don't care if he loses games. Mahomes has done stuff that I've never seen any other quarterback in the history of NFL do. Mahomes is special. Mahomes is a generational talent.
Are you saying Josh Allen isn't?
Josh Allen is, but he's not as good as Mahomes.
Okay, but it's not just – it's a team game, my man. It's a team game.
Yeah, but when you have Patrick Mahomes under center –
You keep saying that, but he's lost two times already. Hey, he's already lost two times this season. So you keep saying when you have Patrick Mahomes was under center, those two games that they lost as well. So you could scream it louder and louder, but that doesn't change the fact. Cool.
And it is hard to win in Arrowhead. I got Mahomes winning this one. You'll see.
Man Amongst Savages also said, I like the Bills in this one. Why are you only cherry picking the comments?
Oh my God. Come on, man. You gotta pick the Chiefs.
Amin the Dream is cherry picking to make his argument sound better.
No, it's Mahomes, okay? You gotta jump out of I'm surprised you haven't jumped that Mahomes train, okay? Mahomes.
Yeah, I love Mahomes. I think Mahomes is one of the best quarterbacks in the league. That doesn't mean I think he's gonna win every single game.
I'm not saying that he's gonna win every single game.
You kind of are.
I've never said that he wins every
single game. You just said if Mahomes is under center.
I said that gives you a pretty good chance to win football games. That's all I said.
Is Josh Allen give you a pretty good chance to win football games?
Yeah. He does, but not as good as Mahomes does. That's not as good as Mahomes. It's just not. And I already told you, just look at last week's games. Dissect last week's game. The Eagles' offense put up 30 points on that Chiefs defense. But when you have Mahomes, it's hard to outscore Mahomes. It's just simple as that. Mahomes, if you just look at his stats last week, 5 touchdowns. I mean, Mahomes is special. I'm telling you, it's going to be a close game.
Whose offense is better?
Whose offense is better? Pulling this one out.
Whose offense is better? Whose offense is better, the Eagles or the Bills?
Bills.
Okay.
So when you have Mahomes, it's pretty damn hard to outscore Mahomes. I got Mahomes winning this one. Simple as that. We'll find out this Sunday night, okay? We will find out this Sunday night who's right. I'm telling you, I will not forget to text you that night after the game. I'll be like, what did I say? You should have just listened to me, okay? Josh Allen, da-da-da-da-da. When you have Patrick Mahomes in the center, most likely you're winning the football game. I got the Chiefs in this one. Moving on to the Monday night football game, just upcoming Monday night football game, and the last topic of the day, the Indianapolis Colts versus the Baltimore Ravens. Who you got winning this one?
Yeah, I mean, I think this is going to be a close one, but the Colts just seem to not be able to get it together, and I just got to go with the Ravens are going to get this victory. So I'm going with the Ravens.
I'm going with the Ravens also. It's hard to stop Lamar on any given day, especially game day. It's hard to stop Lamar. The Colts, their defense hasn't looked that great. It's a good defense, but that defense also is struggling a little bit. Carson Wentz, I mean, that team is 1-3 for a reason. I think the Ravens win this one. Well, that basically wraps up the show. I appreciate our one loyal viewer, man. I appreciate the one guy that was just in here the whole time. But I appreciate also other guys that tapped in Football Talk with Benny. Go check out his channel. He is also another content creator, Giants content creator. Go check out his channel. I appreciate everybody who popped in the chat today. If you haven't subscribed to my channel already, please do. I am 6 or 5 subscribers away from reaching 500 subscribers.
Let's go.
Already. Please sub to the channel. I'm so close. To 500 subscribers. So if you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do. I appreciate it, man, amongst savages. And if you also haven't checked out SoReal's channel, go do that. The link is in the description. Go subscribe to SoReal's channel. Go follow him on Twitter. The links are in the description. I appreciate everybody who watched. Please like the video and subscribe. And we'll see you guys next Tuesday. Peace.